This is Momxiety with Sav Social, and I'm your host, Samantha. Let's get right into it before the baby wakes up. So today I have a very special guest with me, my sister-in-law. Woohoo!
Thank you for having me.
Yes, I'm so excited to have
my
you.
first pod.
I know, we made it. We're in my baby's bed right now. We made it. Oh my goodness. Okay, so we have a lot to talk about today. Let's get right into it.
Let's do it.
Okay.
I'm nervous.
So tell me a little bit about your babies.
Okay. Where should I start?
So how many do you have? What's their names, if you would like to share that?
Yes. Okay. So I have two beautiful babies, boy and girl. I won't really say they're babies because they're 4 and 2 now. They're toddlers.
They're still your babies. Okay.
Dallas is now 4 and Scarlett is 2, turning 3 pretty soon.
Oh my gosh. It's crazy, honestly. Time flies. I can't even believe that he's 8 months.
You'll be there before you know it, trust
me. But yeah, I'm really excited to have you on. I want to talk a little bit about our birthing story, like when you found
you sure you want to hear about this?
So how old were you when you found out you were pregnant?
So with my first, I was 22. I know that's very young. 22 when I found out I was pregnant. And wait, was I 22?
Hold on, are you sure?
Wait. Okay. I think I was 23. Still young.
Nobody's gonna hold you.
And I was 24 when I had him.
Okay.
I might have to go back and do the math for you guys, but
That's
yeah,
okay.
I think 22 or 23. Which just sounds crazy, but yeah.
Well, I feel like when you're a new mom too, especially when you're younger, I'm noticing it now, and now that I'm in this boat, like I didn't even think about it when you were pregnant, of course, but you don't realize like nobody else around you is, not that nobody's pregnant, but like it's not as common is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
So when we're going out partying and you're home pregnant, it's like I guess you don't realize until you're in that moment that it is a little bit isolating. Even
very.
Very. Yeah. So I feel like that's one reason why I wanted to start this podcast, because I feel like when you're young, even me, and I'm sure you realize when you're on Instagram scrolling and you see all these moms, they're like, I'm not saying this is old. I'm just saying when they're like in their 30s, and
right.
It's like sometimes you're not relating.
That's
to it,
more
or
the
even
norm
40s.
now. Like people are getting married later, having kids later.
Yeah.
So for me being, I don't know how old it was, 22 or 23. We're still figuring that out. I felt like I was like teen pregnancy.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
All my friends were out partying and I was home with the baby.
Yeah.
So
no, it's definitely an eye opener, and of course, like it's a blessing. So we're happy regardless. But it is like something that you don't realize till you're in that moment.
No, for sure.
Okay, and then for Scarlett, you said 24. So that was the same age that I was when
because I do remember this because I was super pregnant at my 25th birthday, and I had her shortly after.
Right. Only a couple of weeks after.
They're only 17 months apart. So
yeah,
very close.
Very, very
back-to-back pregnancies, 2020 and 2021. I gave birth.
Also, too, I keep forgetting like that when you had Dallas, he was literally born during COVID. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like it was like that week was when
I was in the hospital, everything was open, and then a week later the world was shut down. You couldn't go anywhere. I'm like,
were you scared?
Scared is an understatement.
Yeah.
New mom, first time mom.
That's crazy.
Pandemic strikes. I'm like, can anything else happen? Like,
right.
What else can happen?
That's crazy. So, when did you start feeling pregnancy symptoms?
Okay, that's a really good question. So, with my first, I don't know if you want to call them symptoms. Maybe this is like TMI to say. You can always cut it out if you think it is. But
no cuts here.
My breast were so
painful.
Yeah, painful, swollen, and I was like, oh, this is like really weird. Maybe they're growing. Like my 22, 23-year-old mind, like, oh my god, maybe
I'm going through puberty.
Yeah, like, is this like late puberty symptoms? No, girl, you're actually pregnant. Little did you know. So that was with my first. Did not happen with my second. With my second one, it was nausea every morning.
Yeah.
I guess you call it morning sickness. I didn't throw up, but just nausea. Did you have any similar symptoms, or am I the only one that thought I was going through puberty?
No, you definitely were the only one. No, I'm kidding. No, I think, honestly, I was spotting a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I wasn't sure if I was going to get, my time of, have my time of the month or anything. And I didn't really feel anything. I felt a little bit nausea in the beginning, but I threw up when I found out I was pregnant, but I didn't throw up.
Unrelated to the symptoms. That was just shock.
That was culture shock. No, I just had like a little bit of nausea. But also, I feel like I was working myself up because in my mind, like, I wanted to be pregnant.
Right.
So I feel like I was not making the symptoms up, but I was making myself sick about it.
Yeah, you were just, like, making yourself crazy.
Yeah,
right.
And, like, I feel like throughout the months, I really had bad heartburn. Like, this was, like, a couple months later. I feel like it wasn't nothing too serious in the beginning. I don't know if that's like
I always hear about heartburn. I never experienced that with either of them, but I heard it's rough.
I just had like Tums and club crackers by the side of my bed.
Oh.
Yeah, I was just, I feel it now. It's coming back up.
Do you need to tell us something?
No, I'm not telling you anything. I'm telling you nothing.
That'll be for the next episode, guys. Tune in.
Okay, this is where we start rumors. Hell no. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, no, I had really bad heartburn. I was taking Tums probably a little too much.
A little candy, a little snack.
Literally. And then toward the end, I had really bad sciatica. Like my feet were getting numb.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah. Did you have that?
So bad.
When they get really heavy, I guess at the end, it's just like you're.
When you,
I
meaning me, get so heavy that my bones can't hold my body up anymore.
Oh my gosh, it's actually crazy. It really is a miracle because the more you like, when I look back at myself pregnant, I'm like, that's crazy. Like, I can't even. Your body is just completely different, and I feel like that's something also too I wanted to talk about today. Is like how much your body changes, and like to someone on the outside, they might not like think anything of it, but like when you first off, you feel it physically on your legs, like we were saying,
right?
Like, but also like you don't. I don't know. Like it's just it's weird to see your body go through so many changes. I don't know. So many changes
so quickly.
Yeah.
Especially, I mean, you have one, but. Having two back to back, your body going through that
it's
twice.
It's crazy.
I'll never be the same.
See ya.
Dr. Miami, can you please sponsor us?
So today's episode is sponsored by. No, I'm just kidding. She's like,
yeah, let's talk about it because the way your body changes, and the way that you feel about your body. I don't know if you feel the same way.
No, I do.
But
I do, trust me.
That's a whole nother discussion in itself.
Did you have were you swollen at all? I swelled up a lot.
So no, not during my pregnancies. However, I know we're going to talk about like the birth. So I had 2 C-sections. Excuse me, and the swelling after the C-section.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
I don't know the whole science behind it or why it happens, but the swelling is crazy.
Really?
And you just have to walk and just keep your legs moving to bring the swelling down and drink a lot of water.
Yeah. That's I know, like, not the same situation, but when I was swollen, they told me drinking a lot of water and like the compression socks.
Okay,
They recommended that for
I don't think I tried that. I just was like walking up and down the stairs like
just to get yourself
20
moving.
times. I'm like, is this like ever gonna go away?
Yeah, and that's the thing too. I feel like when you're in the moment with all those symptoms, it feels like it's never gonna end. It's like it's very like it's a little bit of trauma.
People just don't understand. This is mom's-iety. Yeah. This is what gives us anxiety
thinking about it. Right. Oh my gosh. All right, so you had a lot of symptoms. Now, did you do anything to prepare like for birth? Like there are so many tricks out there. Honestly, I feel like I tried so many of them. I don't know if you tried things. I don't think anything worked. He came out when he wanted to.
Long story short, I did not. I didn't try anything. I didn't read. Whoever's listening to this podcast, if you want like advice on preparing for birth, don't ask me. Don't watch, just keep scrolling because I
buffer through this.
Yeah, like just skip past this part because I did nothing. And it's something that I regret, but as a first time mom,
you don't know.
I'll blame it on being young, being naive, whatever. Mm-hmm. I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
I didn't exercise. I didn't stretch. I didn't try those crazy remedies. Drink this tea. Eat these.
The raspberry leaf tea.
I didn't do any of it.
So I was the opposite. I tried everything, and none of it worked. So it really didn't matter.
Oh, okay. So maybe listen to me, guys. You don't need to do that stuff.
So I did a lot of exercise. I did yoga, but I did warm yoga. I don't know.
Yes, I remember I was there with you.
You came with me a few times.
That was actually very fun.
It is. It was, you know what I think? It was more relaxing and just like keeping you at like a level, if that makes sense. Because, you get stressed, I feel like easier when you're pregnant. You feel more irritable.
It's like prepping your body and your mind. Like bring you to a peaceful
And that's
state.
That's like honestly the biggest thing and the best thing that I did. No, that definitely helped me. I remember she like did a lot of modifications for me. So like you could always ask your teacher like what they know they're not going to be making you do anything crazy.
I think if I did it again, meaning
you would try that,
have another child, definitely try yoga, get off the couch, be active, like all the things.
I definitely think honestly that really helped. And even when I got up to the point of when I was going to be delivering, like I was using positions to practice in advance, and like they had me like prepping, but we'll get into that later. But so that I did that. I tried the dates. Honestly, I can never look at a date again. It was so disgusting. No, like they said, have 6 a day. I was like, I couldn't even like. I would like bite one and I would be gagging. I was like, I cannot do.
Maybe you can come whenever you're ready because I'm not eating any of that.
Yeah, and then I don't know if you tried this, but that exercise ball. Have you ever tried that?
Did I do that in the hospital?
Yeah, they might have had it.
No, I don't think I did. Guys, I did nothing. Why are you asking me this?
Okay, we're gonna have somebody else on next week because
I'm not gonna be asked back for another episode at the rate that this is going.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
No, but this is a good learning experience for pregnant moms. If you're preparing, like
first time and
you can listen
time,
to all the things that I didn't do that I wish I did, and there you go. Yeah. Now you know what to do.
Yeah, and I feel like those remedies, I'm curious to know if it works when you have a second child. Like, I wonder if I try those things again, if that worked. Honestly, the exercise and yoga, that did work. But, like, as far as the raspberry leaf tea, which you're not supposed to even do that till the end.
I just can't, I don't know.
And also, by the way.
I don't believe any of.
Yeah, exactly. I don't believe, I don't know any
woman that's like, yeah, I drank that tea and I was like in labor the next day, or I ate those dates and I was like, that baby was here that week.
Was like,
yeah, I just
no,
never heard it.
I agree. I don't know. I feel like maybe a second child, it's like it is different. Maybe like if you tried that in the beginning, and then I don't know. who knows? But
we'll see when you try for your next one. We'll do some experimenting.
Well, we're really, my parents are gonna watch this and be like, oh my gosh, stop. Okay. All right, so let's get into the part where we talk about a little more about like actually going to the hospital and preparing for labor.
My throat is closing just thinking about it. Okay.
Oh my gosh. So, do you want me to start?
Yeah.
Or
yeah, let me think.
You gotta go back to your files.
I have to go back to 2019.
My archives.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so when I was 40 weeks, I went to the doctor and I was like 1 centimeter dilated. And honestly, at that point, you're so exhausted. You don't want to hear that this is going to be longer than it has to be. And it's funny because like 9 months obviously is so long. But that last week, you were like, get this
Was
baby
that
out.
not like the most discouraging thing to hear? Like,
it is.
Oh, 1 centimeter.
Yeah.
In your naive mind, you're like, oh, I'm gonna go into that appointment. They're gonna tell me I'm 6 centimeters. Yeah, like let's go. Exactly. No, reality check, honey. Nothing's happening.
And also, too, did you ever have in your mind that your water was gonna break? Like that was like a non-negotiable. Like that was happening.
That was like the fairy tale ending for me.
That never happened.
That actually never happened.
Isn't that crazy though? Yeah. Like you watch all these movies and they're like gushing water, and you're like,
don't listen to the movies.
No,
that
seriously,
doesn't happen. I mean, it might happen, but it didn't happen.
And I feel like that again is another thing that may happen. Like, well, I mean, it didn't happen to you, but like it could happen maybe after. Like it wouldn't happen.
Your water didn't break either.
No, my water didn't break. My mucus plug didn't come out.
Yeah, what even is? I'm glad that didn't come out. It doesn't sound fun. Whatever it is.
I can't even say it.
Stay in there.
Throw up too. No, but yeah, none of that stuff happened. So when I went to the appointment, she was like, "You're 1 centimeter," and basically I was waiting for them to call me when like I was gonna get induced. And honestly, I was a little bummed. I really wanted to be not natural because I was gonna eventually do the epidural, but like I wanted it to happen naturally. So I was upset, but you know, a few days later, they called me and she was like, you know, come in on Sunday and we're gonna, you know, come through the night, pack a bag, and then on Monday I was gonna get, you know, have the baby. So I just remember the night before I was getting induced, I was terrified. I was just like
scared.
You know, because now that it's planned, it makes it worse because it's like I know tomorrow I'm giving birth. Like what the heck?
Or at least that something's happening.
Yeah, something's
tomorrow.
Gonna happen. So I just remember I was talking to Jake and I was like, I don't really feel the baby moving too much. And common sense, there's not much space. Like obviously he can't move as much. But to me, I was getting nervous. So I remember I went to the hospital on Saturday. So it's the day before I was supposed to go. And they checked and she's like, you know, it's good you came. You don't have as much water.
Oh, wow.
We're going to...
I remember that.
Yeah. She was like, there's not that much water for him to be like even moving and like for oxygen. So it was fine. Like she didn't seem like it sounds worse, I feel like, than it is, but that does happen at the end.
Like, it sounds scary.
Course, yeah. She was like, it's fine. It's just whatever. And then I just remember she looks at me and she's like, oh, well, if you were going to get induced tomorrow, you could just stay. And I'm like, now I'm not prepared. I'm like, what do you mean stay?
I'll go home.
Yeah.
Thank
like,
you.
Imagine, like, oh, God, my heart dropped. I
did have, like, like, now that I'm hearing you describe your first, like, days, very similar.
Yeah.
Like, I was planned to be induced the next day, the whole 9 yards. I didn't have any loss of fluid. No, they didn't mention that. But again, I can relate because that is so scary hearing like, oh yeah, we're gonna induce. What does that mean? Induce? Yeah. Like what's gonna happen to me?
And you just think like all these crazy things. You don't know what to prepare for. But yeah. So I went in. They, you know, I was gonna stay. They put me in a room, and the first part, this like obviously giving birth sounds scary. You know what sounds scary? When they can't find your vein when they're trying to draw blood. they had to call him back. I'm not kidding. I had bruises all over my arm. She was like, we can't find the vein. And she's trying to, like, you know, put the
That
IV
would never
in.
be me. I have the juiciest. I'm like, right here, ma'am. Yeah. You
Get
see
this guy right here.
Extra juicy.
I think I was dehydrated.
Yeah.
They had to call in, like, this older nurse that apparently, like,
she was more skilled.
She was more skilled.
Had more years.
Oh gosh, I was like, wow, that was painful. I don't know how many for tomorrow. But yeah,
if that was painful, just wait.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so then they started me on Servadil. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
I don't remember the names of the drugs.
They started with that because they said I wasn't dilated and this was gonna, like, help soften
speed
everything.
It up.
Yeah. So with that, I had no pain at all. I didn't feel anything, and that was for 10 hours. I was on that, and it was just like a drip.
Oh.
And then in between that and when they were going to start the Pitocin, they offered me this, I don't know the term, but it was a balloon.
Ooh.
I think I told you about this.
I've heard of the balloon.
Oh my goodness. And by the way,
guys, don't Google the balloon.
Yeah, don't Google the balloon, and do whatever you feel is comfortable. And that's what I learned. Like, the nurses were totally on my team. They were like, if you don't want to do something, don't do it. Like,
that's so important too.
Yes.
I don't mean to cut you off, but like having a really good
advocate
nurse, do whatever support system. Because from what you've told me, you had like the best nurses. You're I had music on, and what were they, like, massaging you or something? Like, or was that a different story? They were
that was a different day. No, I'm kidding. Oh my god, you're crazy. No, they did have music on.
They were doing something. They were maybe not massaging you, but they were helping you in some way.
No, they had music on for me. They were the best. I can't even pull it together now. They had music on.
Massaging them. I'm picturing them on your back. Like, you got this.
You got this. No, they had music on, and then they were having me do circuits in between. So basically, I was doing like full workouts. Circuits? Yes.
Okay.
They had me in like.
Sorry, not massage. They were having her workout.
But I told them I'm open to anything, because not like naturally, because I wanted to get it going without like taking so much medicine. The balloon didn't work. It was extremely painful. And honestly, if you try this, like, it may work for you. For me, it did not. So I'm not a doctor. I don't want you to take any. Do not
recommend.
Yeah, I don't recommend it, but I'm not a doctor. But yeah, so they tried that. I was doing these circuits, and then I remember in between that and the Pitocin, which is what, like, where I was really gonna start feeling, pain. They let me take a shower. It felt so good to just
What?
When I told people this, they were like, "What?" And
so you're listening to music, you're working out, and you're showering, all while, like, getting ready to have a baby.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I didn't feel any pain at this point. I got in the shower. They gave me like chicken broth. Like, I couldn't eat anything, so it was like that and Jello. And then that's when, after that, they started the Pitocin. I was on it for a few hours. And at this point, my mom had come in just to, like, wish me luck and all. And then she headed out. And
my mom was with me the whole time.
Yeah. My mom wasn't.
I'm like, you're not leaving me.
My mom was worried that she was going to be more nervous and then, like, make me, like, we'd feed off of each other. Yeah. So she,
No, I get that. Everyone's different.
Yeah. But she, when she headed out, at this point, I was, like, a couple hours into the Pitocin. And I started to feel pain. And this is not to scare anybody, but also keep in mind, I purposely, like, my plan was to push off the epidural as long as possible, because I wanted to make sure that the epidural was, like, during the period that I was pushing.
Right.
Because you hear all these stories like, oh,
something
don't do it too
I didn't
early.
know. Yes, wish I knew that first time, because I got the epidural way too early.
Yeah.
They told me nothing. And I couldn't feel my legs. Like, how can you push when your legs are feeling. Like Jello?
Yeah. Yeah, I remember I got to a point where I was like, she told me, she's like, if you're at the point where you're like, I can't walk, like you're like in pain. And I just remember I was like, okay, I'm like, this is like,
Right.
I get cramping very bad. So I kind of handled it a little bit. And then it was the point where I was like, I cannot do it. Like, this is it. Like, it's too much.
Wow.
Um, but yeah, so once that happened, I was like, all right, got me the epidural. Please, stat, literally stat. Well, she told me that it could take an hour. So I'm like, oh.
To kick in?
No, till the guy would come up and do it.
Oh, I was going to say.
Because I guess they have back-to-back people. She was like, try to tell me a little early. So
he was busy.
Yeah, he's like, help!
This is not the McDonald's drive-thru of epidurals. You gotta wait.
No, there's a line. Yeah, so then he did the epidural. I feel like it hurt, but I think because of the massaging. Yeah. No, I'm kidding. Because of the relaxation and the state that I was in, I was just like, I just need to get in the zone. Like, I feel like I was about to play a basketball game.
Yeah, and you're not worried about needles, whatever. No. You're like, yeah, just do whatever you gotta do.
Exactly.
Inject me, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. I was just like, do whatever. And then it started, so they make you lay down and like, so it evenly goes through your body. I don't know, I'm sure they did the same thing for you. And from my hips down was numb. Like, I could not feel anything. I was
that fast?
Oh, it was quick. It was like within a couple minutes. I was like, oh my gosh.
Ooh.
But yeah, so that was a little crazy. And then after that, I remember they came in like a few times to just check if I was dilating at that point. And I was like at like a 4 still, like after like all this. And
it moves so slow.
Oh,
I know.
Yeah. And it's like, you're exhausted at this point. Now it's like almost 24 hours. And I'm like, I can't even see anything. Like,
I can't see straight.
Yeah. I just remember I think I was having more anxiety that my legs were numb. It was freaking me out that I kept like telling Jake, like, if I look at you, like, I need you to smack my legs. I'm not even kidding. This is not a joke.
Can you pinch me?
No, literally. I was like, can you keep like smacking my legs? Because it's actually making me overheat and I'm freaking out.
I can't.
Okay, I'm realizing after this podcast I do have problems.
No. And disclaimer, we are not trying to scare any women that are pregnant, thinking about becoming pregnant. We're just simply sharing our stories.
And honestly, it sounds worse than it was. It was very relaxing experience.
Dramatic AF. So please.
And also, I'm complaining about being numb. I'm not complaining about the pushing.
The girl was getting massages and listening to music.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, no, then once that happened, then I guess it had to be almost 24 hours in. I remember they came over to me and they were saying, like, I guess the way I was laying, they kept having to flip me over because I couldn't physically flip my body because I was so numb. Yeah. The nurses kept coming in and she was like, oh, I think the way you're sitting, it might be pushing on him. They weren't like going into detail, but I could tell like something was going on. Because they don't want to freak you out. Yeah, they didn't want to say, like,
you're suffocating your baby. You want to like flip over a little bit?
Yeah, exactly. So they kept it very calm. And I remember at, toward the end, she was like, okay, we're going to check one more time, how it's going. She's like, you're 10 centimeters. I was like,
24 hours later.
Yes, 24
you're
hours
ready
later.
To go.
Yes. And she said, and also another thing, which may sound a little disgusting, but this all just is like crazy things, is she told me when you feel like you have to go to the bathroom is when you're going to start pushing.
I think I remember
it's
this.
Pressure. They said, like, when you feel the pressure, like, you're going to go to the restroom. That's literally what she told me. And at that point, I threw up. And I was like, I feel exactly what you're telling me. And she was like, okay, we're going to start pushing. So, the doctor came in. But it wasn't even my doctor. It was, like, somebody in the hospital.
Just talking about it is, like, it brings back all the feels.
And you know what's crazy, too? Before this happened, I was looking up all these positions, how to give birth, because there's all these things that can make it better. I just remember the nurse was like, oh, we only do one. And she literally was like, you're going to sit like this with your legs like this and that. And
sitting?
I was like, because kind of like sitting, like not laying in the bed, but like I wasn't all the way back.
What hospital did you go
I wasn't all the way back. I was like sitting up, but I just remember, like when you have something planned in your head and then obviously it didn't go that way. I was like, I hope this doesn't make it worse.
This whole like plan in your head of how your birth
is gonna go.
And it never goes that way.
No.
Right.
I think it's just something to picture to show like, okay, there's an end and like we're gonna get somewhere.
Like you have an end goal, but how you get there is not how you necessarily plan or picture in your head. Right.
Yeah. So I just remember she was like, okay, this is what we're doing, and I'm like, okay. And she stepped out of the room, and I remember me and my husband, I was praying out loud, like, please God, like, whatever, this, make this happen naturally. And I just remember the one word, and I have told my cousin this, who's going to be giving birth soon, is to surrender. You need to like fully relax yourself and just leave it up to him, because
100%.
Honestly, this is a miracle. This is completely out of our hands. And when you think about it, like you're literally having a human come out of you. You need to just focus. Like,
right.
I didn't scream once throughout the pushing.
Me neither.
You didn't scream?
No.
You have to be relaxed. I feel like
like you see in the movies, or even you hear, like I heard women in the rooms next to me screaming. I'm like, what is happening to them that's not happening to me right now?
I didn't scream.
Screaming bloody murder. I was so, when I tell you, so relaxed.
Mm-hmm. You have to be, because I think if you put so much energy into screaming and squeezing your hand and this and that, you're not focusing on actually pushing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was in a yoga class. I swear I was breathing like and pushing down. Like that's exactly what they told me to do. And the baby was out in 16 minutes. And I just remember she was like, that's insane. Like
that is insane.
Every time I was pushing, they were like, it's happening. And I'm like, what? Like, because at this point I'm completely numb. I didn't feel one thing. I felt pressure, but not like where I was like freaking out,
More pressure than pain.
Yeah. And then of course when he came out, I was just ecstatic. And it's like when you hear the first cry, you just want to like
oh
cry.
My goodness. The first cry.
Yeah.
That's the best.
But yeah, so that was pretty much how my birthing experience went. I had a really good, honestly, the nurses
sounded fabulous, honestly.
The nurses were great.
I'm jealous.
The only thing was that they changed every few hours, because I was there for like 3 shifts, if that makes sense.
Right.
So like I would like somebody and then they would leave. But thank God all 3 were really good, and it made me feel like okay about it, because I didn't realize the doctor doesn't come in till like the last like 2 seconds.
Oh, forget it.
It's so funny though.
2 minutes. Okay, the baby's here.
Yeah, literally. It's like, okay, no big deal. But yeah, so that was my experience. I want to hear yours.
It was similar but so different, because like I said earlier, I was so unprepared, unlike you. And also I felt like the nurses were not very helpful.
Oh man.
They weren't giving me tips and
they
tricks
were just
and
waiting for you
music and exercise circuits and
massages.
Well, whatever the case may be. So to make a long story short, I was 40 weeks. I was past my due date. And they actually did the sonogram and they measured him. And I won't forget this, because she did the ultrasound, and she was like, her face was shock. I'm like, is something wrong? She was like, that baby's 9 pounds 16 ounces. And how can you ever forget that? So I'm like, wow, what does this mean? Like, I'm already past my due date. So she calls the doctor in. Long story short, he's like, we're gonna induce you tomorrow because we don't want you to go any further. You're gonna be delivering a 13-pound baby at this point. So I'm like, okay, great, awesome, fabulous. So fast forward to the next day, get to the hospital, get checked in, and they asked me how far apart are your contractions? And I'm like, contractions? I don't think I'm having any.
Yeah.
So they put the little belt on me,
Yeah.
whatever that is, to measure. She's like, sweetheart, your contractions are 5 minutes apart. I'm not lying.
I never heard this.
Yes. 5 minutes apart. I'm like,
he's about to fall out right now.
Yeah, like, what is the contraction supposed to be? I'm asking the nurse this. I'm like, I feel like pressure, but I just thought that's because this huge baby is sitting on my uterus. So I don't know what's happening. So they get me checked in. I'm not dilated or anything. I don't know where these contractions are coming from or what's happening.
Gosh.
Crazy, I know. So they induced me, and then I went the whole night into the next day. Nothing was happening. I was still having these like mysterious contractions.
That's so weird. So
I had no pain. I felt nothing.
So you had no pain. There was no progress.
No progress, no pain.
That's so weird.
Fast forward to the next day, I got he broke my water.
Yeah,
I'm trying to remember the exact like sequence of events because literally nothing was happening. So they're like, okay, let's break your water. Let's try to get something to happen. All the while, I'm laying in this hospital bed, not stretching, not exercising, not moving for over a day.
Oh my
Red flag. Don't ever do that. And finally, I guess the contractions became closer.
Yeah.
I had already gotten the epidural at this point, couldn't feel my legs. I'm like, nothing is going to happen. So I got to the point where I was ready to start pushing. Mm-hmm. I'm pushing, but I can't feel my legs. I'm laying. I wasn't sitting like you said.
Yeah.
The nurse, she was great. She was sweet. She was trying to like coach me through it. I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
I pushed for 3 hours. That's also not an exaggeration.
I remember your mom told me
crazy.
That's insane.
3
that shouldn't
hours.
Be allowed.
How is that even legal? Nothing was happening. They were like, he's just not coming down.
Oh my God.
What do we do? Yeah. Someone call a doctor.
Yeah.
So at the 3rd hour, I started to become in a lot of pain.
Yeah.
I a lot of like in my back.
Yeah. Of course. I mean, you're
screaming. Like... I was calm the whole time pushing.
Yeah.
But when that 3 hours went by, mm-hmm. I was done. I was like, you have to help me. Please do something.
Yeah.
In the blink of an eye, there was like 20, I don't know, nurses, whatever their position was. The whole team was in the room and they were rushing me to the OR. They're like, we have to get this baby out right now. So I ended up having an emergency C-section.
Oh my God.
3 hours into it. And there he was. 9 pounds, 12 ounces, not 16. She was very close.
Yeah, that's still crazy.
And that was it.
Yeah.
I know.
Wow. Well, I wonder too if my experience was different. Like, obviously I said that I prepared like exercise wise, but also he was really small.
Tiny, right.
He was 6 pounds, 11 ounces.
Yeah.
So that obviously plays a role in whether, like,
Definitely.
If my next one and I prepare, it might not happen that way. You know, like it could have just been that he was so small. I wasn't small, but he was. No, but like it's crazy because you don't know, like you prepare and it's like, what, like, is this actually going to work or am I just, you know?
I think that type of preparation is important and it helps. Like, stretch, don't be a couch potato, get your body ready. Not saying do these crazy, like, drink this, eat this, whatever remedies, but something from my experience of not doing any of it, I so wish I did because things might have been a little bit different.
Yeah. But it's good to have, you know, have that knowledge for the next time, you know.
Right. For sure.
But yeah, so that concludes our first section, and I'm really excited to do some nap time tea.
Oh
yes,
I love some piping hot tea.
Yeah. So like I said in my last episode, this segment is basically controversial topics, but not like serious things, you know, just lighthearted.
Not something
funny.
That's going to get me canceled.
No, you're not getting canceled your first time on the podcast. Okay, so the first topic is strict nap times and bedtime.
Oh, I love this.
Yeah. So,
I'm curious how you stand on this, because I know how I stand on this.
So for me, I feel like when he's home, he has 2 to 3 naps a day. Mm-hmm. And then at bedtime, honestly, I'm not gonna lie, we're very lenient with the time that he goes to bed. I feel like it's because that's like our family time, spending time together. I don't know. That's just me. And honestly, like, I don't know. We're just not as strict. Like, if we were out, I wouldn't be like, oh my gosh, he has to go to bed right now. Like, it's 7 o'clock on the dot. Like, we need to run. But
not me cringing at this answer.
No, and listen, this is just right now. Our kids are 2 different ages. Maybe when he's a toddler, there's going to be more strict, enforcement of nap time and like bedtime. But as of right now, that's our schedule.
Okay. I'm the complete opposite. From birth, I was sleep training both of my kids. Mm-hmm. I don't judge either way. You do what
No, but I regret it.
I strictly believe like you do what's best for you and your family and your kids.
Right.
But I am a sleep training stan. Like, mm-hmm. it works.
Yeah. I will say the next baby you're coming because I need help.
I'll help you guys out. Don't worry. But so important, putting them down for naps at the same time and again, my opinion, putting them down for naps at the same time mm-hmm. every day. Bedtime was always at 8 o'clock, mm-hmm. 9 o'clock, doing the same bedtime routine every single night, mm-hmm. bath, lotion, clothes, read a book, whatever it is, and getting them in the bed. Even if they're not asleep, getting them in the bed with the bottle, whatever.
Yeah. No, it's good. I don't disagree with it. I think I should have done that. In the moment now, I think it's fine, but it's good that like you have a schedule, because I'm sure you'll agree with this. You need mom time at night. Just to relax, take a shower, take a bath, read a book, whatever you want to do. And now that I don't, I'm like, if it's bedtime for him, I'm like, oh, now I have to go to bed. You know what I'm saying?
Right. You're so exhausted by the end of the day. Yeah. You're like, I'm going to bed too.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no time.
Yeah. I feel like you need that time at the end of the day. And even in the morning, sometimes I'm like, okay, I got to wake up earlier. I'm so tired. I'm like, I'm just trying to survive out here. You know, like you got to have a balance, because I don't think it's healthy what I'm doing. But it's all right. It's the first time.
To each their own. It works for you. You get some peace of mind. Yeah. Your kid goes to sleep. Whatever.
Yeah, whatever works.
I was just like a military drill sergeant, and I'm like, bedtime. 2 months old, bedtime. Yeah, like, exactly.
No, honestly, it's
right
good
now.
Though. And you know what? Another thing is too. You have to start it young, because I remember in the beginning I was like strict, and then my husband was the opposite a little bit. He was like, whatever time is whatever time. Not that he goes to bed at midnight, but it's a little later than most babies. And I feel like now he knows. He's like, we should have set boundary, because you don't know in the beginning. And honestly too, in the beginning, their sleep schedule is all over the place. So you don't know how to set a schedule. It's like, okay, they're supposed to eat every 2 hours, but he sleeps.
But slowly they get into that routine.
You don't realize though how young it starts. Like, he's 8 months now. He should have been starting this from birth, but it's all right.
It's okay. I'm not like there's always the next one.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so the second topic is first birthday parties. So what I mean by this is like,
what do we mean?
I feel like some people go crazy and they, rent a hall. They have alcohol. It's really a party for the adults. It's a first birthday. If you know what I mean. Or a first birthday meaning like, a park birthday or something more casual.
Low key.
Yeah. So what's your opinion on that? Like, what's your views?
It's changed over the years. Having 2 kids, mm-hmm. that saying where it's like the second one, like you just don't care.
Yeah.
I love my baby, but my first one, I went all out. It was
Yeah.
a big birthday party, decorations, cakes, the whole 9 yards. And for my daughter, it was pizza and cake at the house.
Yeah. And I feel like,
I think either way is fine.
And I do think, though, a lot of moms would agree with you. Like, that's just a thing. It's not neglecting or something. It has nothing to do with that. That's just how the cycle goes.
You just have more experience, and you realize that your kid is not going to remember. It doesn't matter about the material things, all these presents and fancy.
Exactly. They're going to be happy regardless whatever you do. So
they're one.
Yeah, and that's kind of how I feel like his first birthday's coming up. And the good thing about him, though, and soon. Scarlett as well, they both have summer birthdays. Mm-hmm. So they could do an outdoor party. It could be casual. It doesn't have to be this crazy thing. So I'm thinking more of like a backyard party or like a pool party, something like that.
It's so fun, and, so simple.
Yeah, I feel like that would be good for him. I'm excited about it. Definitely, we got to start planning. Okay, so the third topic is, oh gosh, this one's a little red flag for me.
I'm scared.
Baby sleeping in the bed with you.
Okay, let's talk about
Don't at me though. Okay, I'm sharing a very big secret. The baby does sleep in the bed with us. Don't tell the doctor. I've been lying since day one. Oh gosh. No, we did, he was in a bassinet obviously in the beginning.
Was he really?
No, he was in the beginning. And then like when he would cry in the middle of the night, I'm not gonna lie, we were exhausted, and the only way he would stop crying is if he was in the bed. And when he was very little, we safely had him. Like I would never do anything that would put him at risk or something or at harm. Like he didn't move, and we don't move when we sleep. So and honestly too, I'm sure you feel this way, like you have like that mom, like the sixth sense where like if he was awake, like you would jump up, like
you do.
You know when the baby is awake. Like you don't. I don't know. That's just,
you get that superpower like once you become a mom.
Exactly. Like I feel like, again, I'm not proud of it, but that is, we do that. that's why I go to bed with him.
I can't relate. The kids were always, they went from like bassinet to a crib. Mm-hmm. But again, to each their own.
I think too, like I do try the crib. It's not like I completely X it out. Mm-hmm. I try it, and I cannot get him to. The problem is he falls asleep in my arms, and then I put him down. So when he feels like he's not comfortable anymore, and I'm not holding him, that he wakes up. I've had nights where he'll sleep for like a couple hours in it, and then by the time we're gonna go up to bed, he wakes up. So like for example, if I put him in at 9, and then we're coming up at 11, then he'll wake up. And
he knows.
Yeah. And
mom and dad are here. Time to jump in their bed.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's
also, now that I think about it, I swaddled my son so he had that comfort, like he felt like he was in someone's arms.
Yeah, I actually had him in a swaddle as well in the beginning, and then we transitioned him to the ones where his hands are out. And now he's not in anything, and it's funny that you say that because just the other day we were shopping, and I was going to buy him a swaddle because I'm like, maybe he needs like that security thing.
Like a sleep sack?
Like a sleep sack, but for older. And
they have like weighted ones.
I was going to actually ask you, that's funny that you brought that up. There's this company
so they feel like
that always pops up their ads on my account, and I have pajamas for them. They're so good. But they have weighted sleep sacks.
Yeah.
But are you would you be nervous? I don't know why. A little bit. I feel like I'm scared.
No. I wouldn't.
No.
be.
I'm sure it's not like 100 pounds, obviously.
Yeah, no. Just so just a little
securing
bit,
them.
Just so they feel like something's holding them, or there's, some weight on them.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Maybe we'll try that. I mean,
something to.
Yeah. I thought about it because I'm like, I want to get him back into that, but
And it's never too late.
Yes.
You can sleep train your kids.
Yeah.
At any age.
Yeah.
Really.
No, I think the problem is I'm the problem. I think I need to be more strict.
She's the issue.
You know what it is? By the end of the day, you're so tired, and I'm guilty of this.
I get that.
It's like, oh my gosh, how am I gonna if I know what's gonna solve the problem of him just sleeping in our bed and he's gonna sleep through the night, I hate to say it, but that's what I'm gonna do. Like, you know,
you just want to get to bed and
not and have also he has a good night's sleep. It's not like
it's a win-win for both of you.
Exactly.
You're both comfortable. You're both
so maybe
sleeping.
You know, when he gets a little bigger, we'll try again. But as of right now, that's working for us. Okay, so I'm gonna go over the 3 icks of the day.
Oh, I love a good ick.
Okay, the first one is when a non-family member kisses the baby on the mouth.
Oh, ick.
No, you don't have to say it every time.
Ickity ick.
Okay. The second one is when strangers touch your baby in the store. Do you know what I mean? Like, has that ever happened to you? Where the kid is like in the stroller or something?
Like physically
like
touching?
Grab their cheek or something?
That hasn't happened to me yet. People will come up and say, "Oh my goodness, you're so cute," or whatever, you know, say something sweet and endearing, but never
like touching.
Never handsy.
Yeah. Okay, so then the third ick of the day and the final ick is when people say that their baby is 45 months old.
Oh goodness. This just sends me. I don't know where it sends me, but not to a good place. If your kid is 1, just say it. If your kid is 2, just say it. Like, I don't want to hear that they're 24 months, 36 months, 48 months. I don't want to hear that after 1-year-old.
You know what, too? I can't do the math. I think that's the... I can't do the math
also,
to try to
who's calculating that? Right.
I actually recently got it.
I don't know how many months my 4-year-old is.
Yeah, and it's funny because I just recently got an email from one of those companies, and they were like, your son is like 50. I'm just making it up. It was like 50 weeks or something at this point, and I'm like, who is calculating this? Like, am I gonna go?
Whoever made this up, like,
it's crazy.
Be gone.
Be gone.
I don't like it.
Oh my gosh. All right, well, I feel like that went really well.
This was fun.
Yeah, I had a really good time. I hope that you come back again because I can't keep talking to myself in the mirror. No, I'm kidding. But I really enjoyed this, and I feel like, we got to know each other a little better and, like, heard each other's stories.
There was, like, things that because obviously I was there after you gave birth, but I'm like, wait, that happened?
Yeah.
No
Even
way.
you, I can't believe, like, all that crazy stuff happened. Like, it's just, I think also too, like, when I was at the point at the age that I was when you had the baby, like, I was, I think, just dating Jake at that point. I don't know, maybe engaged, but my point is that I wasn't thinking baby. So I don't know, when you say things, it's like you can't relate, but now that we're both moms, it's like, I get it now.
To talk about these topics and, like, whoever's listening, if you get anything from this, like, I think that's the goal.
Yeah, no, I agree for sure. So thank you for watching Momxiety. I really hope that you enjoyed this, and I can't wait to talk to you next time. See ya!